Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I have something special to share with you today. For years, I have been looking for my grandmother's cookie recipe. I am 69 years old, so when I talk about my grandmother, you know how old this recipe was. And I have not been able to find the recipe that makes the cookie like she did. It's not a real sweet cookie, but it's real thick and it's super soft. If you think about the Loft House cookies, it's that style, but it doesn't have that sickening sweet taste that, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but I did anyway. So, but it doesn't have that really sweet taste to it. It's just a real subtle sugar taste. Anyway, I'm just so excited. It also, I know that I'm on the right track for my grandmother's cookie because this recipe I found has nutmeg in it and hers had nutmeg. And that just absolutely makes this cookie, I gotta tell you. So I am gonna run through the process of putting that together, and I hope that if you've been looking for this recipe, this will be a great find for you. Okay, let's get to the kitchen. I'm sifting 6 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking soda, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and half a teaspoon of salt. I did sift my flour before I measured it out, and here I'm just giving it all a stir with my whisk to get that all incorporated. In a separate bowl, I'm going to add 3 cubes of butter, and I'm going to mix that butter until it's very soft and light, because this is a really stiff dough, and I just want to make sure that that butter is as creamy as possible before I start adding in everything else. Once the butter is light and creamy, I'm going to start adding in the sugar. It's going to take 2 cups of sugar, and I'm just going to add it in a little bit at a time, and I'm kind of doing it from the other side there so you can't see it too much. That's me telling you there's 2 cups of sugar. So here I go, adding in that last cup of sugar. Now that that's all mixed up, I'm going to switch over to the paddle attachment because I'm going to be alternating between the flour mixture and a sour cream. And so I want to use this paddle attachment and just go about this very slowly for a bit. So here's the sour cream, and I'm going to be using 1 cup of sour cream. And like I said, I'm just alternating. I'm putting in a little bit of flour and then a little bit of sour cream and back and forth until the entire 6 cups of flour have been incorporated. I will eventually have to take the paddle attachment off and just start using a spoon to mix it because it just gets too much for the mixer. So there I am, just mixing this up with a spoon until I get all of the flour and all of the sour cream completely mixed. once I have it mixed up as much as I can in the pan, I will go ahead and take it and just turn it out onto some waxed paper and work it a little bit with my hands until it feels like it's really all kind of coming together. I actually divided it up into 3 bunches there because it's a lot of dough. So I'm just working that and getting it so it feels like it's ready to roll, although I'm not going to end up rolling it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in this bowl. That is kind of the process, well, that is the process of putting that cookie dough together. And my grandmother would then take it and roll it all out and do the cookie cutters and everything, which is what I intended to do. But then I got this, my hack brain thought, what if I didn't have to roll it all out? Because this dough is really soft and pliable. So I have just my dough. I already did a little bit there because I had to see if it's going to work. So I just took big chunks of dough, and this is probably at least 2 tablespoons that I'm taking off here. And I'm going to roll these and then just press them down with my hand. And so I did a pan first to see if it was going to work, and it did. It worked great. So, I mean, that takes a lot of the time out of making these cookies, because rolling out that dough, cutting them out, and doing all of that is very time consuming. And on my grandmother's cookies, how many times can I say that? Anyway, hers were, she just used a round cookie cutter anyway, so it wasn't a fancy shape or anything. And tomorrow, my son is flying in for a 10-hour layover. He's on his way home, and he has a 10-hour layover here in my city. And so we're going to pick him up at the airport, and the family's coming over, and we're going to have food and fun. I can't wait to see him. He lives in Alaska, so I only get to see him once in a great while. Sometimes 2 or 3 years will go by, and that's really hard. But anyway, so we're going to have some of these cookies tomorrow, and we're going to do, or I'm going to make some of those cinnamon rolls that I had on my last video. Oh my gosh, those pull apart cinnamon rolls. I love those things. And what else are we going to have? We're having cinnamon. Oh, I'm making him his favorite chocolate peanut butter pie. I like these just plain with no frosting. They're so good dipped in a glass of cold milk or with my coffee. But I will frost a few of them for the grandkids because, like I said, it's not a super sweet cookie, and the grandkids, they like sweet. They come by it naturally. So I will frost some of these so that they will have a frosted cookie. My brother's going to be so happy when he sees these. He was just saying the other day that nobody made cookies like our grandma, and he's never tasted a cookie like that. And the very next day, I happened on this recipe by absolute accident. It was really kind of a fluke. Anyway, he's going to be so happy. So I'm going to get a little bit of flour on my hands, and then pat these down. And, oh man, I should have turned my camera before I put flour all over me. Hang on. This, believe me, is a lot faster and less messy than getting out your rolling pin. I'm not opposed to that though, but just this really works good. These are going to go in the oven at 375 for 11 to 12 minutes. Okay. Oh, one more over here. And also, the other thing I'll tell you is that when I baked the first batch, I did it right after I mixed them. So this is after they've been chilling in the fridge. And so either way, the dough is working great to roll it in those balls and just press it down like that. Okay, it's headed to the oven. $375. I'm going to set the timer for, I'm going to bake them for 12 minutes. Okay, so these just came out of the oven. I baked them for 12 minutes. Now, ooh, hot. They look light. You don't want to overbake these. You want them just to be really soft on the inside and just that little bit of crunch, on the outside. These are beautiful. Look at these. They look just like my grandma's. They smell like them with that nutmeg. Try them. So I can't wait to serve these to my brother tomorrow. He's going to be so happy. That's Grandma's cookie. Perfect. It has that delicate crunch on the outside and just soft, soft middle. Kind of like me. Merry Christmas. This is just the best season of the whole year, and I'm so thankful for the reason for the season.